Góðan daginn, and welcome everyone to the Icelandic Travel Tech. My name is Inga Rós Antoníusdóttir. I am Digital Manager at the Icelandic Tourist Board. With me today is Ásta Kristín Sigurjónsdóttir, CEO of the Icelandic Tourism Cluster. And this is a collaboration for the 4th year in a row where we host the Icelandic Travel Tech in various editions up until now. As many of you may have noticed, we had a moderator on our program, Ragnhildur Ágústsdóttir, who unfortunately fell ill and cannot be with us today, but we of course send her our warmest wishes for a very speedy recovery. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome you all here today, and it truly warms my heart, it absolutely does, to see so many here in person, because we have hosted the Icelandic Travel Tech for the past few years, and the past 2 of them with restrictions. So we were here last year, but we couldn't hug anyone. We were sanitizing our hands and wearing masks and spreading out as much as possible. And now I can see people actually squeezing in, which is great fun to see. We are very excited about today's program. It spans pretty broadly. We will have longer and shorter presentations and discussions, ranging from blockchain to the Blue Lagoon, from sustainability to self-defense in travel tech. I'm pretty sure that many of you are here not least for the break, to be able to finally network in person. There will be time, and I assure you there will also be wine. I don't think there's very much to add. I think it's very in the spirit of the conference and the theme today that we are collaborating here on stage today. The theme beyond the obvious one of combining travel and tech is of course collaboration. We will see a lot of focus on collaboration today. I think the Icelandic Travel Tech is a prime example of just that. And with that being said, I'd like to welcome you, Maksim, and later on Gísli on stage. You have the longest presentation time today, so I will leave the rest of your presentation up to both of you yourselves.
Thank you.
The stage is yours.
Hi everyone, my name is Max. I am one of the founders of an organization that's called Winding Tree, and we're slowly rebranding to Win. This is a new brand. This is our new appearance, and there is no way for me in one sentence, I guess, to easily explain what we're trying to do. And I always venture when I try to the depth of philosophical ideas and all sorts of crazy things. But today I'm just going to tell you a few stories. And of course, it's all about sustainability. So you could check it out. You could, I guess, go on our website. Right now, it's in a very early stage. When is our new product? And I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. But let me start again with my story. And that story starts in this beautiful place in Georgia, the country, Georgia, not the state. I was there just in February of this year, and it's a beautiful, absolutely astonishing place. I mean, I love Iceland, but I love many other places as well, and so that place is one of them. I was there in winter, skiing and snowboarding with friends and just learning about the local community. And that local community that you live here, it's a very, very old village. It's been there for hundreds of years. And that whole community of just a few thousand people relies on tourism as probably for 90% of their income, right? In summer, you can go and hike in the mountains. In winter, you can ski and snowboard and do all sorts of other things. And I had a lot of fun there. The only problem is, to get to this place from the closest airport takes about 6 hours on a road that looks sometimes like this. And I was driving there with a friend, and at some point we got stuck on the mountain. The driver was completely unprepared for the road conditions in winter. At some point, it was kind of scary, but we survived. Anyway, so that's kind of the state of infrastructure there. Sometimes, at some point, they have better parts of the road, of course. And another problem that I noticed personally, being sort of mindful about the ecology, about nature, is that there's not even an attempt to recycle the trash, right? To separate the trash. Everything goes into the same bin. I sort of cringe when I start thinking about where all of that goes after, probably some sort of landfill next to the mountains where we're skiing. So I don't know. And that's, just another problem that I sort of identified there. And so I was there for a few weeks, and that's actually where our latest project started. And my friend was staying there as well. And we became friends with some of the local people, with hotel owners, with restaurant owners. Again, it's a very, very small community. People are very nice. Food is great, so I highly recommend it. But anyway, so my friend showed me this screenshot, which is, I don't know if there's like a red thingy there. If you see at the price, at the commission there, that's about, no, not about, that's exactly 18% of the total price that my friend paid for staying at that hotel. And that's quite a bit, and that's concerning. And I know that there's a lot of conversations going on already. I talked to, I guess, a few of you, and I know that you're concerned about these things as well. And so, actually, I don't think that's going to work, right? Okay, we can skip that. That's fine. Sliding. Okay, so I guess should I point it somewhere else? There we go. So now I'm coming here, and I've been to Iceland before, and I just feel amazing here. And again, I feel concerned about, I come here, I fly, I stay at the hotel, I eat the delicious food here, and I said, why don't I go to visiticeland.com website and try to offset my carbon footprint? And so that's exactly what I did. Yeah, very simple process. You select what kind of things, what kind of mode of transportation you used, whether you're going to use a car, what kind of meat, what kind of diet you have. Of course, it's all very important. Well, I'm not going to bore you with this silly video. Okay, so at the end, I arrived at this screen, which told me that my carbon footprint for this trip, for me being here right now, is about 600 kilograms of CO2, which, I don't know, is it a lot or not? And I really didn't know, but the website very conveniently told me that offsetting that carbon footprint would cost me 15 euro. That's not a lot. It's very easy. So anyway, I didn't pay just yet. I'm guilty, but I will. But again, it got me thinking. So if, and I did book a hotel through booking.com, and if the commission on my hotel, which I paid for a week, it's a little expensive here, but about $1,000, give or take, right? And so the 18% commission, of course, is $180, which will offset, could have offset my carbon footprint of being here 10 times over, and there will be a little bit left. And so the idea that I want us to ponder about today is whether that kind of fee is justified, and whether when we talk about sustainability, is it just about using electric cars or doing all sorts of renewables and stuff like that? So maybe there is an easier path to sustainability if we start taking into account the amount of money that's being extracted from communities like Iceland, like that community in Georgia that's called Mestia. Maybe by reducing those fees just by a little bit, maybe even, right? We could fund in Georgia the recycling, maybe we could fix the roads, maybe we could invest that money, or they could invest that money. If that money would stay within that community, maybe they could invest it into education, into better facilities for tourists, maybe to marketing. A lot of stuff could be done with that very hefty 18, and again, that's the average, and maybe, again, you travel people, you know how much you're paying in terms of commission fees to the intermediaries today. And so I've been working on this problem, or on this idea about removing intermediaries. I'm just going to start shooting like this at some point. I've been working on this problem, or on this idea of intermediaries that cause all sorts of problems within the travel industry, within actually many other industries as well. I started Winding Tree about 6 years ago at this point. At the end of 2016, I published this article on LinkedIn where I described that it's not just about commission fees, right? It's all about, I don't know if you have, if we have hotelier people here, it's, using booking.com means that you are no longer the brand that the customer interacts with. There are problems with data flows. At the end of the day, I think the major problem that we have here, if we have an intermediary in the middle, is that they restrict innovation. If we don't have open platforms that we could easily play with, if we could easily experiment with and combine them in a variety of different ways, which maybe 95% of those ways will fail, but experimentation and the ability to experiment is equal to innovation. That's how that's just basic sort of logic, right? So I've been working on this project for 6 years, and I started with this simple idea of travel industry suffering from intermediaries. And we have this technology that is designed for decentralization or de-intermediation. And of course, that technology is blockchain. And again, if you don't know a lot about blockchain, that's totally fine. You don't have to understand how exactly it works, which I could go on and on for hours. And by the way, maybe you should talk to me and talk about the workshop tomorrow that we're going to have. Where are we going to have it? Here. Perfect. So yeah, we're going to have a workshop here tomorrow. It's going to be several hours. And that's where you will be able to ask me and my friends from Anirium here any kind of question about blockchains, how it works, why is it important. But the use case is very simple. Blockchains allow us to write computer programs that are completely autonomous, that don't require intermediation, right? That don't require a person in the middle who controls that computer program. And that's how most industries work today, digital industries right now, right? So in terms of banking, in terms of the travel industry, of course, there's always a company in the middle that controls the server where the program is run. The program, of course, being, I don't know, a hotel, an OTA website or something like that, right? And so actually, when I was in Georgia, I took a vacation. And usually, my daily life is, I say I'm chief emailing officer, right? Do emails all day. And on my vacation time, I was able to write this new product that we have, or at least a part of it. And we said, Basically what it is, it's a booking software that lives completely on blockchain. As a hotel, you say to that computer program, you say, I have 10 rooms available, here's the price. And as a user, you come sort of from the other side of that program. And the beauty of it is that it's a smart contract that lives on the blockchain, and I cannot change it. Once I deployed it, once I put it out there, I cannot change it anymore. It's completely autonomous. So I remove myself as an intermediary. Although I wrote that program, but when I put it on the blockchain, I cannot do anything with it anymore. It's completely autonomous. And so we ran a pilot in Amsterdam around Ethereum DevConnect event, why did we do that? Of course, because you have to book with crypto when you do that, when you interact with a smart contract, and of course people at that conference, the users, they knew how to do that. So we didn't have to educate them how to do that, but we did have to educate the hotel. And our partner at that conference or around that event was DoubleTree by Hilton, very close to, I don't know if you've been to Amsterdam, very close to the central station. Very nice hotel, 4 stars, and we were able to save about 20,000 euro to attendees of that event that was held just about a month ago in Amsterdam. It was a lot of fun, it was a lot of success, and what is the important innovation here? Like why? So the removal of the intermediation with the help of smart contracts is just one part of this, of sort of the optimization of the innovation that we have here. And another very important part here is that blockchains and smart contracts allow us to now write computer programs that have money built into those computer programs, because before we always had to, and right now, again, most of you, probably all of you, if you run tourism kind of company, or any company at this point, right? You always have to deal with 2 separate systems all the time. The money system, the payment system, and then the actual issuing of a ticket or a hotel booking or something like that, right? Those are 2 completely separate systems. And there is always a very confused person in the middle who is trying to make sense out of those systems. Did you pay? Do I have to issue the ticket for it? Let me go and check over here. All right, there's a payment. But oh well, we forgot to issue the ticket to you. Oh, okay, now you have to talk to me. And that's why it's so hard right now. I mean, you all know the pain of changing the airline ticket or changing your hotel booking or something like that. Or, I don't know, recently I was booking a flight on an airline website. I'm a customer, I'm logged in, and I book it, and next day I check my email, nothing. I check the airline website where I'm logged in, nothing. I have to talk to their customer service. I start the chat, I'm number 700 in the line to talk to them. And at the end of the day, again, what does that person in the middle is doing is they're checking, okay, did you pay? Yes, okay, but we forgot to issue the ticket for you. Okay, sorry about this, here you go. Smart contracts remove that complexity completely. They remove that confused person from the middle. Smart contracts, and again, you may know nothing about blockchains, but take this one thought away. Smart contracts are computer programs where those 2 systems are combined. And that's what we created for the Amsterdam event. So that is, if I pay to that smart contract, I will receive, it cannot be the case that I paid and I didn't receive anything, or I received a ticket and I didn't pay. So it's all combined. And again, canceling and changing things becomes a lot easier. But the one very, very important problem that we didn't quite solve yet is the user has to pay in crypto. And in our case, it was this crypto that's called DAI or XDAI. But the hotels, they didn't agree. They just cannot deal with this. DoubleTree by Hilton told us it's the corporate will never allow us to accept this kind of money. So we had to help them a little bit to deal with that kind of situation. But we already have the technology to solve this problem. And in the next iteration, very soon, probably in just a few months, we will be integrating this new amazing technology that's called Manerium. Coming on. There you go. Thank you so much. This is not the end of the presentation. Don't clap just yet. No.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
So first, some history. The internet was the fastest adopted technology in all recorded history. We all know now how much that has affected our lives. Yes, so sorry about this. So yes, at the years when it grew the fastest, it grew at 63% annually. And we humans have a little bit a hard time understanding such an explosive growth. So I'm going to share one slide here. So this is the number 100, growing at 63% annually over a 20-year period. So you can see that it's a wildly explosive growth here. It's exponential, really. But for the first 12 years, it doesn't seem like it's doing a lot. So it's growing from 100 to close to 2 million over that period. So I want to show you the exact same graph on a log scale. And then we can more easily see what's happening there in the beginning. Same graph, but we can now spot the trend of what's happening. It's growing very fast, and you can see in the early days that it's growing fast. Now here's the secret. Here's the surprise. What happened now? Wow. Okay, let me just do this this way. So crypto, and with crypto I mean everything you may have heard, blockchain, you may have heard cryptocurrency, you may have heard Web3, you may have heard NFT. All of this is growing twice as fast. So it's growing at a rate of 113% annually. To compare this is a slightly complicated slide. I'm not going to dive very deeply into it, but the white line is the 14-year range from 92 to 2006, showing you the growth of the internet on a log scale. So we're going from 10 million to 100 million to 1 billion users. You see, over that time, we reached 1 billion users in 2006, roughly. Now crypto is growing really fast, and we will reach the first billion users by the end of 2024. So this is happening really fast. And payments, they're already a huge thing. So these are the numbers for 2021, so last year. And it may surprise you that Bitcoin alone exceeded PayPal in terms of payments last year. But more than that, if you take the combined value that was settled on a blockchain, it exceeded the Visa network. So it was roughly $11 trillion that year. And while it's doing more, users are paying less in fees. So of course, there are two sides of this. So if we take the Visa network had $24 billion in fees. So this is the revenue of the middleman, the intermediary. So it's fantastic for Visa, right? But the other side is that this is what the users paid for the access to this payment network. And you can see that Ethereum, one of the blockchains, was actually less than half of the fees paid while doing more. And we should even take the next contender, Stripe, and stack it on top of Visa, because if you're doing online commerce, you'd need to go through someone like Stripe to access the Visa network. So now you have two intermediaries that you need to pay. And why is this? What's the reason? So, like Max was saying, the e-commerce relies on credit cards, which live in a completely separate network. So this means a constant reconciliation between the two, and usually end users don't feel that pain, but you as operators most certainly have. But sometimes users even find that problem and experience it, when something goes wrong, when you have to cancel a flight or when a flight is canceled. So with crypto, we now have internet native payments, which means that they live in the same world, where money and data are of the same format. And here we have to kind of differentiate as well between payments and settlements. And when you're trying to pay for something, it's a one-way thing. But when you're settling something, you're settling your flight or your hotel book or something like that, there are a lot of intermediaries today that need to kind of facilitate this. And they all take their fees to take on this risk. This risk may be in the form of insurance. There's something that could go wrong here, so they have to provide capital. There are so many things and so many intermediaries that are in the sort of supply chain of settlements. With this new technology, this complex process removes almost all the intermediaries and relies on the fact that it's internet native. So you have the settlement process in a smart contract, like Max was explaining a little bit earlier. So what is Monerium and how do we fit into this picture? We are a regulated, digitally native bank. We are here to connect you and your company to the innovation that's happening with Max. And so we allow everyone to use the regular currencies, the euros and the pounds, in this context. And we bridge between the legacy banking system and this new and exciting world of crypto. And I was actually going to try to demo something here for you, so you can kind of get a feel for what how this bridging mechanism works. So we had a large product update yesterday. So may the demo gods be with me. And here you have the sort of the euros there, you have the transaction history, and you have the ability to add some money to this account. Now, these accounts live on the blockchain in the same world that Max is working in. And here you can see our innovation, where we can assign a bank account number to your blockchain address. And you can see this is a wallet here, and the website agrees on the value. So there are 14 euros in this wallet and some cryptocurrency. And this is the same number as here. So if I now go to my Revolut account, let me just do that quickly. And I'm going to send something like 3 euros. And send it away. I was going to join here with the phone, but you just have to believe me, I sent the euros away. And if everything works out, in a few seconds, we should see this transaction appearing in the transaction list. There we go. So these are real euros being sent right now from a Revolut account in seconds. So usually when you think about euro payments, they're done in, what, 1 or 2 days? We can move euros across the whole of Europe onto a blockchain, and everything happens like lightning fast. Yes, and now I'm going to look for these euros on chain to see how much we paid for this. So this is what is called the Blockchain Explorer. There's now still picking up that this transaction that actually happened, real euros, and we can see here that it went to my wallet, 3 euros, and the fee is 0. Well, we don't have enough decimals to show it's less than 1 cent that this cost. So, and if I look into my wallet, we should now see the 3 euros being added to this account. So this is going like end to end into the system and now available to participate in the innovation that's happening on chain. So my last slide then would be, so for your takeaway, I'm not going to have this much longer, but I'll be around here and you can come talk to me. So there is a huge market there already out there, which you can tap into. It's a crypto market, and Max and his team is actually working on a solution of connecting companies, providers to this market. And we are here to solve the last mile problem of allowing you to have regular currency, euros and dollars and kronas and whatnot, in this world. So I'm not going to have it longer. Thank you so much. And Max, I think you will be concluding this talk, right?
Thank you. I don't know why it's even planned before, because this was absolutely fantastic. I saw it for the first time yesterday, and it's just mind-blowing. You know, one of the biggest problems right now with crypto is what we call off-ramp and on-ramp and off-ramp. And with this, well, the problem is, again, we cannot use smart contracts and blockchains, and we cannot use their full sort of power and functionality if you are not operating with cryptocurrencies on the blockchain, right? And with this, with the advent of euro, of Ethereum euro, and with like such an ease, and again, you were saying Revolut is just a regular bank account that you're sending euro to blockchain directly, and it's there in seconds. To me, it's mind-blowing. So another round of applause, I think. And so we have a little bit of an interaction planned for the session. Can you help us? There's a link in the presentation if you refresh it, and if you can click on that link. Guys, we prepared a special surprise for you tonight. First refresh it, try refresh it. Yeah, okay, yeah. There we go. Who has crypto here in this audience? Quite a few people, I'm surprised. Do any of you control your private keys, or is it on Coinbase or something like that? Amazing. Much less people, actually, much fewer. Do you own any NFTs, anyone? Nice. Okay, kudos, good. But we're gonna give you today your first NFT. You don't have to have a blockchain account or anything like that. So actually you can scan this QR code, you can just provide your email. And for you, that's gonna be a little nudge to simply create your first blockchain wallet. So that's the wallet that Gísli was showing. That's where actually the euro came into, right? And it's such an important first step for anyone who wants to sort of participate in this future. And this is, again, crypto is already a huge industry, as Gísli was saying. You know, trillions and trillions of dollars are being transferred and staked, and crazy projects are created, and a lot of people are being scammed, of course. Sorry about this. But just creating your wallet, you don't have to spend money at all to create your wallet. But just that simple step of creating your first wallet, the wallet that you fully control, and again, that's the whole premise of blockchains, that you remove intermediaries like banks from the equation, like OTAs and other kinds of intermediaries, right? With this technology, you truly control something that is your own. No one, if they don't know your secret words, they cannot take your money from you, they cannot take your data from you, all of that stuff. And again, this is just a little nudge for you to try and create your wallet. And you scan this, and you're gonna, in your wallet, you're gonna receive your first ever NFT as a token of appreciation for attending our session today. That's it. So I'm gonna leave it on the screen for a while, and there's another actually QR code, so many QR codes these days, that we're gonna show you, and maybe, can we display it like on the same screen, like side by side? Do you think it's a possibility at all?
Probably.
Like if we can scoot this window over a little bit. Why? Because as I was saying, so tomorrow we're going to have a workshop where we're going to be talking about blockchains and travel and all sorts of things like that. And again, we're open book. You can ask any questions. We will help people who are going to be coming to our workshop tomorrow to set up the wallet, explain what it means, explain how it works. But we are realizing really, and we're doing those pilots around crypto conferences all around Europe right now. We're going to be helping attendees of crypto conferences in Paris, in Barcelona, in Bogota, a few other crypto conferences. We're going to help them to book their hotels using crypto on the blockchain without paying an intermediary fee, and therefore leaving that transaction fee within the community, and thereby helping that community to be more sustainable, to invest that money into their infrastructure, community, education, whatever they want, right? But we're realizing that people that we pitch it to, hotels, and a lot of the time they're quite conservative. People don't understand this technology. This is a little bit too early, and so we're creating an online course where we're going to be teaching the fundamentals of blockchains and Web3 and NFTs and DeFi and key management and all of that stuff. And so if you scan that QR code, you will get a sign-up form. And if you're interested in learning more about this tech, we're going to start in the middle of June. And yeah, just a simple sign-up form for that course. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think you guys are going to help us with that.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Gísli and Maksim. For sure, I'm mind blown. As someone who lives in one country, works in another, has kids living in 4 countries, actually, I tend to send a lot of money back and forth in various currencies. And trying to explain to someone from a very young generation, to my 14-year-old son, that yes, I did send the money, but it won't be there until in 2 days. And he asked me last week, actually, he said, how did you send it? And I said, well, I just transferred it online. He said, well, then it doesn't take 2 days. But there you go, sometimes it does, and obviously it doesn't have to. So thank you so much for pointing that out, and again for reminding us that crypto and blockchain does not belong to some weird guys in the basement that we don't trust, and all of that we thought about when we heard about this for the first time quite a few years ago. I'm curious to know, while our next guests are being mic'd up, how many of you, raise your hand if you are here on behalf of a tech company. And the rest of you take a good look around, and then you can see who belongs to the tech companies. And on the other hand, please raise your hand if you are here on behalf of a tourism company. A lot of you guys. Which makes me very curious then to find out how many of you do not like to be defined or put in a box. Raise your hand. These are the disruptors. So if there are any investors in the room, take a good look around. I would keep my eyes on those people. Very nice to see. But this is where we're moving on from what we in the program described as the future of tech. We will now go on to more practical tech, a discussion about what companies are using in Iceland at the moment, how we solve certain challenges that a lot of tourism companies are facing, how many of these challenges are very scalable and are not as unique as companies might think, and how we can collaborate to find those solutions that mean so much for our companies, for the future of tourism in Iceland, and of course for the tech companies. So if they are ready, I would like to welcome Áslaug. Thank you very much. This is what happens when you've slept way too little a few days before a conference. Áslaug from Strakta, thank you so much. And Ásþór from GoDo.
Yes.
A very warm welcome to you guys.
Hæ, Áslaug Sara Hreiðarsdóttir heiti ég og and I'm the sales manager for Strakta Hotel. I'm here to say a few words about the challenges we have faced that tech has helped us solve or at least reduce. So Strakta is family run and is one of the largest hotels in the south of Iceland with 149 rooms in total. Since we opened in 2014, I have mostly been working in reservations and we have been very fortunate. From the start, things have been busy. Let's not count the 2 last years, but very busy. So our job in the booking department has mostly been keeping the inbox in line, response time down, communicating with travel agencies, etc. Oh, bam. Although things were going great, there's always room for improvement and of course to do better in sales. Since we are also taking care of the billing, we did not quite have the time to fully focus on other parts that come with the job. So here's a rough estimate of how our time was being spent. So really burning up time in manual emails and creating invoices. Okay. So our focus, and I think for most hotels, was to do and is to do the following. Save time, increase and diversify sales, have a clear overview of the business itself, make the job easier, of course, for our employees. So we needed a better oversight in order to take steps in reaching our goals. So in 2018, hvert ég að beina sig hingað?
Já, ég held það.
Okay. We decided to give them a go. And in the beginning of our cooperation, we were focused on small improvements. So our business consists mostly of direct bookings, which makes us quite unique in Iceland actually, with the ratio about 80 against 20%, that is for OTAs. So since we work with a lot of travel agencies, each with different contracts, which can be also in different currencies, we were really happy with how easy it was for us to set up each customer differently in their PMS and have it directly connected to our accounting system. So having a direct link to our accounting system, which delivers, there we go, okay. Ég búin að tala svona all tíma? Was one of the significant steps for us in saving time. It's a must-have, as we all know. So the next step was to increase sales through our website And the booking process for customers, so the booking process for customers was simplified, and the revenue management as well as setting up offers was made easier for us to do in the back end. Oh yeah. Okay, so before we were spending, sales? Yes, we were spending a lot of time manually sending out visas, charging channel bookings, checking payment status of each booking on a daily basis, and taking actions accordingly. So GoTo helped us by automating this process, and at the same time we gained a way better overview on what had been charged and not. Reports were a big factor in giving us the oversight as well, as important tools like flags and info codes gave us a clear status of each booking instantly. But yes, the reports are now very accessible and therefore help me deliver the data to the management quickly and without too much hassle. After a little while working with the new system, we had managed to optimize the following parts in our operation. Faster booking process, setting new customers up in the system with the correct rates and currency, payment collection, increased sales through our websites, better management, and a solid connection to our accounting system. They're not paying me commission, they should be. So when we had managed to get the hang of these tools and were using them efficiently, they introduced Travia, a marketplace where travel agencies can directly make bookings at the hotel under their individual contract and conditions. And since we work so much with travel agencies and tour operators, this has actually been a game changer. So of every 100 rooms that are booked with us today, 20 are automatically arriving through Travia. So 1 out of 5 hours spent, 1 out of 5 hours we spent on creating reservations manually, we can now spend on other aspects of the business. So to fellow hotel operators, there are a lot of systems out there, and we have tried quite a few actually. So the reality is you have to spend some time to get more time, to get to the saving time. When it comes to automation, it takes time to get used to changes. The outcome really depends on what you put into it. Technology is always developing, and there are so many exciting options out there. So I think we have to prioritize our goals. Know what you are seeking for your business. Tack.
One more time for Iceland. Let's go. I gotta try something. When I say travel, you say tech. Travel, travel. I knew it would work. My name is Ástór, and I'm the Director of Hotel Operations at GoTo. I'm going to talk a little bit about how we solve things in practice, so things that we have actually done for hotels and travel agencies. We have a few products. First one was GoTo Property, a property management system. I'm going to call it PMS from now on. Primo, a revenue management system. GoTo Suite, operational services for hotels. Pronto, a housekeeping and maintenance application which gives you an automatic overview of your cleaning statuses. And finally, Travia, which is now the second largest booking channel in Iceland after booking.com, which we are really glad about. In short, my presentation is about saving time and security. I'm going to talk a little bit about credit cards, invoicing, and reservation automation. In 2016, we started to develop a product which was around charging credit cards. To begin with, we started focusing on protecting the CVV code, the security code on the credit cards. Also, just making a product that you would be able to charge reservations with a click. So we called it Pay Button. It was quite revolutionary and amazing. We developed it at this time. A lot of systems, and still today, were treating their credit cards information poorly in a note text field which was accessible to all their users in the system and was subject to theft and breaches. So we wanted to do a little bit better, and we started to do something called tokenizing. That means that when credit card information comes into our system, we encrypt it. And the end user, so the hotel operator, he never sees the full credit card details again. So after you input it, you will never see the credit card details again, but it talks to a token in a different database and combines the data for the actual charge. But with now recent developments, we've also started to provide something called a 3DS token to the credit cards. This means that the guests can receive from the hotels a secure payment link where they can transaction their credit card through this process of having a two-factor authentication. You've probably all done this. You've got a PIN on your phone and you verified that you are actually the one using the card. But we wanted to do more. We wanted to make a robot out of it and automate it. So we decided to create rules in the system where you can actually set up to charge the guests automatically according to their cancellation period. This gives the hotel a guarantee of a charge in case of a no-show, for example, or just gives them a little bit of time ahead of check-in time, for example. When you charge the reservation, you maybe get a declined transaction. You have a little bit of time to contact the guest to say, hey, we tried to charge you, but you don't have any money, or your credit card doesn't work. So giving them a little bit of a financial guarantee and also saving a lot of time. Hoteliers were often picking in credit card details from these note fields into POS systems and charging them, or via other internet transaction modules. But just a little bit of example about poor credit card security. This thing sucks, sorry. In 2019, there was a breach. A large hotel chain got fined $123 million due to a credit card breach. It's an international chain. And again, in 2020, another $23 million. So for those of you who are transactioning a lot of credit cards, it is serious business. But okay, so to the next point about the invoicing. We, in 2017, were creating a lot of API connections to accounting systems. And we were seeing a little bit of a problem with this, because some of these connections existed in the world today, but mostly there was an invoice already in the PMS system or the hotel system, and another one in the accounting system. So sort of a dual invoice system. And this was creating a lot of headaches for accountants and for the hoteliers, because sometimes it was creating currency conversion problems or simple things like credit invoices. It would be credited on one side, it wouldn't update on the other side, somebody would forget to fix it, now your accounting sheets are imbalanced, your accountant is mad, and everybody's just angry. So there was a quite simple solution to this. We decided to make a connection which resided only with one invoice. So in the PMS, when you're using the hotel system, you create an invoice, it actually gets created in the accounting system and flows back to the PMS, and there you have the invoice directly from the accounting system. This helped, and this actually avoids currency conversion problems. If you credit the invoice, it gets captured on both sides because you're only dealing with one entity. And yeah, so what could we actually do more? Now the accountant was a little bit more happy. But the hoteliers needed to be even more happy, so we automated it as well to save time. So at this time, hotels that were before maybe picking in the credit card numbers, trying to get the transactions through and going to their accounting system to create the invoice manually, could do both of these things automatically. Charge the reservation and directly it would be delivered to the accounting system. And happy accountants again, yay. So one other gain that was about it, different from only saving time, was actually that the balancing sheets were following the transactions as well. So you sent an invoice and you sent the information about the payment as well, and directly your accounting sheet is balanced. So really cool. But more close to now, in 2018, we started something that is really big for us today, and is Travia. Many of you have maybe heard of Travia, but Travia is, in short, a marketplace where travel agencies and tour operators can book directly with the hotel via their own contract, through their own currency, and they can, it's sort of like Facebook. They can ask for friendship in this platform. And I'm really glad to say that some hotels today in Iceland and guest houses are receiving over 35% of their reservations through this platform. And let's take Strata, for example. Áslaug mentioned before that 80% of their reservations are coming through travel agencies and direct business. This means a lot of time that's going on phone and emails. She mentioned about 60%. I think for many hoteliers, even chains, they have whole departments for this. And it's not so long ago that people were even receiving these reservations or inquiries via fax. I'm going to say a little bit of a time killer. But now, with 20% in Strata's case of their whole booking stream coming through this platform, we can quite significantly say, or quite securely say, that it's a quite big time saver, and we are really, really proud of it. But along the way, it also creates a little bit more security for the travel agent, because the travel agent needs to act fast, and he needs to be able to secure the business with the client. And it creates more flexibility for them as well to make quick business. So the travel agent can book directly, the hotelier is saving time, and the go-to team is really happy. All right, along the way, we've done a few things. We've automated the housekeeping process with the overviews, automated some communication processes, done some revenue management things, and are proud to say we have a data science team which is working on some algorithms for hotels of the future. Maybe we get to talk about that in the next Travel Tech. Lastly, I just want to say to all the operators and all the hoteliers or other companies, I hope you're well connected. And it is important to make sure that the people that you are working with are doing things securely, because data breaches and theft, unfortunately, is a thing of today and tomorrow. And we all need to be aware of this. I'm really looking forward to hear further discussions on security and protections in this world. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. I'm Ástor from GoTo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If you stay just on the side for a second, because I'm curious to know, you too, Áslaug. Just for the second. You're not off the hook quite yet. So. I'm just curious, because I can't be the only one who is thinking, this all almost sounds too good to be true. There's a challenge, there's a solution. There were a lot of smileys on those slides, a very smiling robot, very happy. Of course, this is what it's all about. This is also what the Travel Tech is about. It's connecting travel with tech. But to be honest, I mean, what we hear a lot of the time is tech companies saying, it's so hard to get through to the tourism companies. They just don't understand what we're talking about. And on the other hand, the tourism companies say, oh, give me a break. Try to talk to a programmer. He will never understand anything what I'm talking about or any of my challenges. You guys obviously seem to understand each other quite well. What's the key? What's the solution to a good collaboration, if we can sum that up very quickly?
I think we just had a really good communication. We wanted to make a difference. We wanted to change it. We wanted to make it easier. And we were kind of just stubborn in doing that. So yeah, but he didn't understand a thing I was trying to say first.
There you go.
But yeah, and I was stubborn as well to use new things. So you have to give it time. It's yeah.
So did I understand that correctly? So that it's communications.
Yeah.
It's a good dash of stubbornness.
Yeah.
And the time that you invested in it.
You have to give it time. You can't just start something and then it's not working. You have to give it time. And then he will show you numbers and tell you how it's working. And so you don't believe it until you see it.
So you showed her pretty numbers, I assume.
Yeah. Well, I would like to add on it. With experience, and I've been doing this now since beginning of 2017. So you learn, obviously. I think it's a language thing. I do think, for example, when you take on a big project in tech implementation, I think number one thing you should do is probably establish your language, meaning that you're talking about the same thing, all right, but are you understanding the same thing? I think it's a really big factor in technology, just around the world, not only for travel, but just understanding each other. Yeah, communication, for sure.
So it's a lingo issue because you're probably not discussing languages in general. I mean, you both speak Icelandic, and you probably do your meetings in that.
A lingo issue, but that's one thing. I think one might have an understanding of let's just say that you're importing some data, and you talk about it. Instead of just talking about it, look at it physically. Best practice, really. And if both partners can sit down and agree, yes, this is okay, before going into integrations, then I think you're good to go.
Wonderful insights. Thank you so much. Now you are off the hook.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we will move on to a presentation done in Icelandic. I will still announce it in English to start with. We have another collaboration coming up. It's one that I've also been involved with personally on behalf of the Icelandic Tourist Board. One of the main topics that we work on is this combination to get these two industries to work together, the tourism industry and the tech industry. One of the projects that we implemented at the Icelandic Tourist Board has been called the sandbox, the digital sandbox of tourism. What we mean by that is that we try to define a challenge, usually a challenge that we've heard about from tourism companies that is scalable. One where the tourism company maybe mentions that, oh, I'm dealing with this issue, as if it's something that's almost personal to them. I'm dealing with this issue. Usually not realizing that so many other companies within the same field are dealing with the same issues. So it's a scalable challenge that they're facing. At that point, we try to connect them to tech companies that might be able to provide a solution for that challenge. The concept then goes on in the sense that the tech solution comes up with an idea for a solution for this problem, and the tourism company then implements that solution, tests it out, and if it works, then they can go on and use that solution. If not, they will bring up points for how it could be made better, or what else they would have liked to see in that solution. Today, to talk about that, we have Ásbjörn from haldið bílalega. It's always easiest to say from haldið straight out because nobody knows how to haldið heldi, whatever works. And then we have Róbert from Stefna in Northern Iceland, who is the tech partner of this solution. And I will leave it up to you guys to describe it any further. Welcome.
Sjálfblásið, ég Ásbjörn Tryggvi, starfa hjá Bílalega Akureyrar, eða Höldur, og við erum að fransessa Europcar á Íslandi. Með mér Róbert Freyr frá Stefnu, sem hún kynnti áðan, og við ætlum aðeins að tala greiðslukerfi gjaldtöku á bílastæði og veggjöldum. Það hefur verið mikil fjölgun á gjaldskyldum bílastæðum og bílastæðahúsum síðustu árin. Eins og stendur í dag þetta aðalega bílastæði og bílastæðahús, en svo eru vaðlagagöng aftur dæmi það sem í daglegu tali kallað veggjald eða notkunargjald, þar sem rukkað fyrir akstur í gegnum ákveðið svæði. Og með auknum ferðamannastraumi hefur einnig fæst í aukana að bílastæði við vinsæla ferðamannastaði hafa verið gerðir gjaldskyldir. Það eru auðvitað misjafnt hvernig innheimtu á þessum stöðum háttað. Bæði þekktar rekstraraðilar innheimti bílastæðagjöld á staðnum í beinum samskiptum við ökumenn. Aðrir hafa farið út í sjálfvirkari lausnir þar sem ökumaður greiðir fyrir viðburði sína í gegnum til dæmis app eða heimasíðu, eins og við kynntumst hérna úti á malaplaninu, eða allavega ég. Já, sé greiðsla ekki gerð fær umráðaðili bílsins greiðslukröfu fyrir ógreiddra sem í þessu tilviki eru við á bílaleigunni. Og helsta áskorun sem Bílaleiga Akureyrar stóð frammi fyrir var hvernig við komum þessu ógreiddu gjöldum áleiðis til okkar viðskiptavina, svo vel má vera. Eins og staðan í dag eru margir aðilar að sjá rekstur á mörgum gjaldheimtusvæðum all land. Það er því mikil handavinna fyrir okkur að taka á móti greiðslukröfum vegna ógreiddra gjalda og fletta upp bílnúmerum og koma kröfin á leigusamninginn. Þetta getur verið sérstaklega snúið með erlenda ferðamenn sem þegar hafa skilað sínum bílaleigubíl áður en krafan berst til okkar, og við erum þá í talsverðu stappi að reyna að rukka þá eftir á og þetta er bæði tímafrekt og erfið innheimta að rukka svona ógreidd gjöld. Bílaleiga Akureyrar gefur sig út fyrir að vera þjónustumiðað fyrirtæki og þetta hefur klárlega neikvæð áhrif á þjónustuna þegar kröfur bera seint til okkar og okkar viðskiptavin og fá kröfuna sína seint til sín og jafnvel löngu eftir að bíl hefur verið skilað. Við vorum þegar farin að hugsa hvernig við ættum að leysa þetta vandamál með ógreidd gjöld vegna bílastæði og þá nýtilkomnum vaðlagagöngum sem opnuðu held ég, ef ég man rétt, 2018. Þá komu til okkar Bárður og þú varst það ekki. Ég man aldrei hvort það var í lok árs 2019 eða byrjun árs 2020, þetta var alltaf í kringum COVID og Ferðamálastofa kom sér til okkar og kynnti fyrir okkur þetta verkefni, stafrænt sandkassi í ferðaþjónustunni. Og fljótlega áttum við okkur á því að þetta var verkefni sem við þyrftum að ýta á vör. Þetta að reyna að koma þessum upplýsingum beint inn í bílaleigukerfið okkar. Þetta upplýsingum ógreidd gjöld, fá bílnúmer beint inn í bílaleigukerfið okkar, þannig við getum rukkað þess fljótt og auðið var. Og markmið verkefnisins varð því að lokum að koma upplýsingum ógreidd gjöld frá rekstraraðilum bílastæða og ganga eins fljótt og auðið inn í bílaleigukerfið okkar. Og að endingu fengum við svo stefnu til að hanna einhverja lausn fyrir okkur, eða reyna að finna einhverja leið til að hanna lausn fyrir okkur. Og ég ætla að leyfa Róberti að taka við núna og ég snýð svo aftur og eftir og hann ætlar að kynna þessu lausn.
Takk. Fyrir þá sem ekki þekkja okkur, þá erum við lítið hugbúnaðarfyrirtæki frá Akureyri. Erum samt núna með starfsstöðva líka í Kópavogi sem svona skemmtilega staðurinn og Svíþjóð sem þeir vinna í sumrinu og veðrinu. Það eru 33 manns að vinna hjá okkur og meginþorrið þeirra forritarar. Þannig að við svona vinnum rosalega mikið í forritunarverkefni fyrir þriðja aðila og setjum líka upp vefi í okkar kerfi. En þetta verkefni var hentað okkur mjög vel. Þetta sem sagt sjálfvirkni lausn sem við ákvaðum að búa til og hún notast fyrst og fremst við vefþjónustu. Lausnin fær upplýsingar ógreidd gjöld frá bílum sem tilheyra bílaleigum og skráur þess í viðeigandi kerfi. Þetta getur verið bókhaldskerfi, þetta getur verið bókunarkerfi fyrirtækisins, sérst bílaleigunar, og eins og hjá haldið þá keyrum við þetta beint inn á samningin hjá viðkomandi leigjanda. Og það mjög einfalt fyrir aðra aðila að tengjast þessu. Það þarf náttúrulega einhverja forritun á móti, en við erum búin að búa til vefþjónustu sem auðvelt að tengjast við. Og rentalílega skilar semst inn kennitölu, klukkan hvað lagt, hvar var lagt, hvað staðsett og bílnúmer og svo kostnaðina sjálfsögðu. Og lausnin, hún var náttúrulega fyrst og fremst hugsað fyrir bílaleigur og það áfram. En það kom samt svona í ljós eftir á. Þetta gæti hugsanlega líka henta fleirum, eins og mjólkursalan á Akureyri, þeir voru með smá vandamála. Það voru svo margir bílar sem fór hérna göngin og rosalega vinna hjá bókarum sem var bara að taka og setja inn í bókhaldskerfið einhverjar rukkanir frá sjálfvirkum gjaldheimtum. Og við gætum í rauninni alveg tengt þetta beint við bókhaldskerfið á þeim og bóka á einhvern kostnaðarlykil, þannig að þeir þurfa ekki að gera neitt. En þetta náttúrulega líka tímasparnaðurinn náttúrulega fyrst og fremst hjá samt bílaleigunum. Já, þetta sem sagt þessi lausn getur rauninni verið notuð alls staðar þar sem eru sjálfvirkar gjaldfærslur, og þá við vegtolla eins og göng og bílastæðahús og gjaldtöku á þjóðgörðum, og jafnvel sektir getur komið seinna meir. Þannig að það allt opið í þessu. Ég ætla ekki að þreyta ykkur þarna. Þetta er kerfisönnun, bara rétt til að segja að þó að lausnin sé í dag þægileg, einföld og grútleg, þá þurftum við svolítið að hugsa að komast þangað. Við þurftum að setja fyrir okkur, hvað þurfum við að hafa í huga. Það eru margar bílaleigur, það eru mörg stæði, það eru margar gjaldheimtu leiðir og það þarf að skila þessu á margvíslegan hátt til þeirra sem þurfa upplýsingarnar. Og þetta er svona teikning frá mér sem ég var að reyna að setja þetta eitthvað sjónrænt upp. Þannig að þetta er basically staðsetning og vefþjónustan eða kerfið og svo leigja fyrirtæki sem tekur á móti gögnunum. Þannig að ef við tökum dæmi þá þjóðgarður 1, þetta getur verið einhver gjaldheimta sem notar check-it sem kerfi frá stefnu, svo göng sem nota tunnel sem það annað kerfi frá stefnu, og þetta enda vitleysa að kalla þetta innheimtu fyrirtæki, þetta er þjónustu fyrirtæki, og þá það sem við stefna sem sendur svo gögnin inn í rental relay sem skilar í svo til dæmis bílalegu höldurs í kerfið þeirra. Og til að auðvelda okkur lífið þá smíðum við vefþjónustu viðmót, vefviðmót. Þannig getum við látið þjónustuborðið okkar sjá í rauninu þetta. Þannig að þeir búa til staðsetningar, þjónustuaðila og viðskiptavini. Ekki að það fá vatn hérna. Já, takk. Þetta er ávinningurinn. Hann er náttúrulega fyrst og fremst að gögnin koma strax inn, þannig að eitt af vandamálunum var að það voru að koma kannski gjöld inn á bíl sem var búið að skila, búið að gera upp, þannig að þá þurfti bílaleigan að fara í það að leita að viðskiptavinnunum og rukkan eftir á. Þannig að rosa leiðileg vinna, og þetta með þessari leið, rental relay, þá spörum við vinnuna, utanumhaldið, sem leiðir af sér minni kostnað og dregur úr allri óvissu. og bara þannig að það sé vitað hvernig ferlið að þá þetta þannig að við í rauninni bara erum í samtali við bílaleiguna, þannig að ef að bílaleiga vill fá að komast inn í þetta, þá hafa þær samband við okkur og við fyrir svona yfir hvaða staði þeir vilja tengjast og hvaða kerfið þeir eru með til að tengja inn í og svo láta þau hafa svona smá documentation og API-lykil þannig að þeir geta látið sinn þjónustaðala skrifa úr sínu kerfi yfir inn í rental relay. Og já, þannig með það okkar hlutverki lokið, þannig að svo þetta bara sjálfvirkni. Takk.
Bara östuð í lokin, síðan okkar reynslu af þessu. Við byrjuðum á það okkar fyrsta skref var að tengjast vaðalaheiðargöngum og í leiðinni Þingvöllum, bílastæðinu Þingvöllum. Þær pröfur fór í gang núna í byrjun þessa árs og hafa svo sem ekki komið upp neina vandamál og ekki hingað til. Og tengingin gekk bara vel og þannig að það má segja að vaðalaheiðargöng og Þingvöllur eru í fullri virkni í dag. Við erum að vinna að því að fá fleiri þjónustuaðila sem að þjónusta þessi bílastæði til að tengjast rental relay og það ætti að vera hagur þeirra að komast inn í þetta kerfi og það alveg ljóst að þetta verkefni búið að það sem snýr að vaðalaheiðargöngum og Þingvöllum. Þetta búið að spara okkur mikinn tíma og vinnu og í leiðinni þetta bættir þjónustu bara við viðskiptavinni að vera að kröfunar eru komnar inn á samningana hjá þeim áður eða skilabílnum. Hvað er svo framundan? Það er klárt mál að þetta er bara byrjunin. Það má búast til gjaldtöku á fleiri stöðum á landinu næstu árin og áratugina reyndar. Til dæmis bara tvöföldun Hvalfjarðarganga, Ölfusá brú sem er svona í nánustu framtíð, sennilega innan 2 ára. Þetta verður allar þessar vegaframkvæmdir verða einhverju leyti fjármagnaðar með notkunargjöldum eða veggjöldum eins og við kallum það. Þannig að það er bara áfram gakk og áfram samstarf með stefnu að fá sem flesta inn í þetta. Og já, takk fyrir okkur.
Takk fyrir það. Mátt endla kveikja aftur. Því ég ætla aðeins að heyra í ykkur af því að eins og ég segi, bara frábært að heyra þetta og ég veit að staðið þarna á hliðarlínunni ansi þétt í gegnum þetta ferli og þið verið frábæri samstarfsaðilar bæði fyrir okkur og verið ánægjulegt að sjá hvað virðist hafa gengið vel ykkar á milli. Þú segir gífurlegur tímasparnaður og auðveldun bara í starfi. Hvað erum að horfa á í tímasparnaði heldur fyrir ykkar starfsfólk?
Við höfum ekki tekið það saman en þetta var orðið alveg ríflega heilt stöðugildi að taka á móti kröfum frá þessu þjónustaðalum og handslaðir inn í samningana hjá okkur eins fljótt og við gátum. Og það hefur auðvitað minnkað og mun minnkað og við vorum bara síðast til dæmis að fá fréttir í morgun af sennilega 9 svæðum í viðbót sem við ætlum að reyna að tengja við stefnu, þetta rental relay. Þannig að það er klárlega bara tímasparnaðurinn og vinnusparnaðurinn mun verða meira og meiri.
Mér er gífurlega áhugavert að heyra því við getum bara ímyndað okkur ef að þú segir rúmt stöðugildi. Þú segir það er ekki til fyrirstöðu að allar aðrar bílaleigur í rauninu komi inn í svona kerfi. Hvað erum við þá að spara bara í tímasparnaði á ársbasis í ferðaþjónustunni? Og ég tala ekki á tímum þar sem að það er dýrt að reka starfsfólk, b það er erfitt að fá starfsfólk og við viljum jú öll bara hagræða í rekstri. Var eitthvað sem kom ykkur á óvart í þessu ferli? Og þess að nú ert þú einn af þessum forritunum sem tala mannamál, Robby, þannig að þú segir lausnin enda að vera mjög krúttleg, en það voru ýmis stig á leiðinni sem þurfti að taka. Ég er ein af þeim sem vil helst bara einmitt koma með áskorun og svo bíða eftir krúttleg lausninni. Vil ekkert vita allt og mikið af öllum áskorunum á leiðinni. Hvað var það sem kom kannski mest á óvart í þessu ferli?
Sko, það var lítið sem kom á óvart. Þetta er alveg þekkt ferli og við vorum ekki að gera neitt þannig sem nýtt. Við erum búin að tengjast mörgum kerfum, en það það var samt skemmtilegt hvernig það small allt saman og varði í rauninni á endanum gátum við gert þetta einfaldara heldur en þetta leit út fyrir að vera í upphafi.
Frábært. Gaman að heyra það. Þá ætlum ég bara að þakka ykkur aftur kærlega fyrir og bara verður gaman að fylgjast með hvað gerist í framtíðinu og vonandi þurfum við nú ekki að fara að borga af öllum vegum og gangum og hverju sem að bætist í en annars allan að komin í lausn. Við erum á leiðinni yfir í næsta erindi sem verður á ensku og að sjálfsögðu, takk Ásta fyrir að benda okkur á, við erum eftir að klappa almennilega fyrir þeim, þannig við gefum þeim gott lófatak. And next up, I would like to welcome Lee Tipton. He will come and talk to us about self-defense in travel tech, which I'm really, really excited about. And to be honest, I don't really have a clue of what he's talking about. So hopefully we will all be a lot wiser in a few minutes' time. Welcome.
Thank you. And I work for a company called Awergo. Usually when I tell people I work for Awergo...
Sorry, can we stop you for a few seconds? Yes. Because we're just still prepping the slides just so that everything is in sync.
These are really heavy slides.
In the meantime, I can tell you that we're also nearing us the break. So after Lee, we will have a short presentation from Promote Iceland, from Íslandsstofa. They will hopefully get us all in a very good mood if we aren't already, which I of course hope you are. There are a lot of smiles in the crowd. After the presentation from Íslandsstofa, we will head for a, did we say 20-minute break? 20-minute break. There is time for some hugs and some wine, as promised, and networking with both old friends and new. Are we good to go? Perfect.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, usually when I say I am come from Awergo, people go with a wonderful Icelandic word that's ha. And well, let me tell you a little bit about ourselves. We are a small Icelandic company, been around for a few years, and we are in the cybersecurity business. We are focusing on the human factor of the cybersecurity part. Even though we are small, we have big clients. We work for governments and nations, United Nations, Mondelez, one of the largest food manufacturers in the world. And what's most important for us, we have partnerships with Deloitte and PricewaterhouseCoopers. And when they send out their cybersecurity advisors in the field, they're using our content and our system in the background. So they are basically reselling for us. So we are a huge company, even though we are small. Yep. First of all, what I'm talking about today is the cybercrime. And if we just look at the landscape of the things that are most pressing for the human race at the moment, then it's things like water crisis, diseases, viral diseases, weapons of mass destruction, and so on. And in this picture from the World Economic Forum, you can see that it's on the vertical rise is the impact it has when this happens, and on the horizontal, it's the likelihood of bad things happening. And as you can see, the three purple dots there, cyber attacks, data fraud, and theft, and information infrastructure breakdown all connect to what we are doing. So, and it's predicted to be $10 trillion. It's like amazing numbers. And even though we are talking about travel today, this is a global thing. It's affecting all industries, but I'm going to put a little focus on travel here. But since the COVID has kind of went away, now the travel industry on the rise, and at the same time, cybercrime in this industry is rising like crazy. And then we hear about these kind of things like, oh, it's not that bad. It's mostly the big boys that are affected by this. Does it really affect my small company? Yeah, it does. It can do, because if you have a major breach, it can actually, in 60% of small and medium-sized businesses, go out of business in a couple of months, 6 months. So this is like huge numbers. And with the larger companies, even though they will survive it, like the hotel chain that Ásta mentioned earlier, it's actually a good example of this, they do suffer severe consequences. And these are like the governmental fines that are predominant if they are not handling their things correctly. And the new GDPR regulations that state that all companies that are using personal data, and they need to secure it, they need to train their employees and so on. If they fail to do so and have a major break, they can be fined up to 20 million euros or 4% of the total global turnover of the preceding fiscal year, whichever is higher. So these are amazing numbers that are fining. And just to put it in context for you, with a little Google search, I found out that Iceland there in 2019 had this $1.5 billion in annual turnover. That would mean if they had a breach, they could be fined to up to $60 million US dollars. This is like losing a plane. It's like a plane would go down, but if that would happen, they would be insured. They are not insured for this. So this is like huge impacts. And it's not just the money, it's not just the fines, because it's also your brand gets poisoned, you lose a lot of sales in the consequences, you have unexpected expenses, because when this happens, everything just is a shitstorm. Everybody just goes on trying to fix this thing, and the business as usual is not anymore as it was. And and you get, of course, these unexpected expenses, and you have to, you're not as attractive on the job market after this, because especially in IT, people don't really want to run into a shitstorm when they're looking for a new place to work at. So that really has these consequences. And of course, the legal penalties, other legal penalties. We could have private lawsuits and so on. And it's a really tough problem to attack, and it's really hard to solve completely, but what you can do is minimize the risk. So that's what we're doing. And if you know what you do, you are ready to invest in it, and it's basically investing in effort. It's not about paying some company money to do things for you, you have to do it yourselves. And that's it, thank you, and good luck on your journey in the shitstorm. No, just kidding. I'm gonna give you a solution to it. Okay, so for 20 years or so, we have been fighting these threats with basically technology and processes. It's like we have the firewalls, we have been working on the IT side of things, and that's going actually pretty well. We're doing pretty well with the virus protections and so on. But what we are really missing is the people, because 85% of all successful breaches rely on the manipulation of humans. So you think about it, 85, it's like the biggest part of it. It's huge. And the reason it's not the hardest part is because it's really easy, really hard to teach humans. It's much easier to train computers. So I'm going to give you 6 easy steps. And this is just in general. It's not something related to our work or something. It's just a general how you create a security awareness culture within your company. The first thing you need to identify is that not all your employees are the same. If you have a huge company, it does matter who knows what. And in this case, here we have like a security profile for a person within the company. And based on that, he knows 30% of what phishing is. Data leakage, he knows 52%. Password handling, he knows 89%. And physical security is 88%. Okay, this looks okay. But depending on who that person is, it's a huge difference. If it's a janitor, he doesn't have an email. It doesn't matter about the phishing. He doesn't have, the data leakage isn't like so important except with physical security. But, so he is like a low risk employee. But if it was a database administrator or somebody that has access to some sensitive data, this could be a huge risk. And so first of all, you have to create those security profiles and then sort your employees into those groups. You don't need to train everybody on everything all the time. The next thing is to identify the threat areas and the key behaviors you want your employees to know. When you've grouped them all together, you have to go through the list of the possible threats that are out there. And if you just go with phishing, is he able to identify phishing email? Does he handle it with caution? Does he report it? And these kinds of things. It's all actionable key behaviors that you want to enforce with your workforce. And they are not phishing, it's also about password handling, remote working, and so on. You have to identify what needs to be known, what do they need to do. And then when you have that, you associate those key behaviors and those threat areas with the security profiles you did earlier. And then this is your training plan on how you're going. The next step is selecting some training material and a learning management system that can support your needs. In many cases, companies already have like a training route or like a learning management system that they are already implementing for other things. And if not, then you need to have some way to distribute it and monitor it and do some reporting. And these are, and I'll go more into training material in a minute, but it's a huge step there. And then also, you need to have a tool to measure the status. Because otherwise you are stuck with the idea that you do something, you do some training, and the CEO comes to you and say, are we now safe? And you're like, I think so. I did send out the courses, but you need to be able to measure. That's the big thing here. And then you know how things are going. And then just basically start. And remember to measure regularly. You start, you measure, by measuring, then you go and train, and then measure again and train, and it's ongoing. It's an endless circle of assessing and training. So you're always finding out where the weak points are, and they're always coming up new threats, so you're always adding to the training path. So it's kind of a never-ending story. But it's not like you're doing nothing else. Don't get me wrong there, but it's something you need to be aware of. And a few like tips and tricks to think about. You need to create this culture of security awareness within the company. It can't be something that's one person's responsibility to take care of security. It has to be ingrown into the DNA of the company. And how you do that is basically making it easy for the employees to do the right things, by educating them, making it no shame, no blame policy, having it like it's okay to ask dumb questions, and like be frank about it. So talking about things is really important. And it's not just enough to train once a year. You need to have it continuous. You need to have some training and then some awareness that follows up. So it's kind of, you have to do a lot of these things. And it's, you train and then you maintain the knowledge and reinforce good behavior. One of the biggest threats out there is phishing. And it's really important to teach all your employees about phishing, how that works. And might go into details like what spear phishing or whaling is, or some of these like variations of phishing, but and that's the by far the largest one, and which is handling the travel industry the most. The next one, the other ones, don't leave them out. You have to train them also about physical security, about creating passwords and all that stuff. You need to train them also. So this is kind of a blind spot for a lot of companies, and really measure. Again, I'm always talking about measuring the training efficiency. Another thing, it's hard enough to have set out these trainings where you are forcing everyone to go through some training materials, and it's often very boring. Do yourself a favor and select some training materials that is actually nice, actually good, and people like. Because otherwise your life is going to be hell. They're going to hate you. So we started out with basically creating those dreadful videos that everybody hated, and that was not fun. So we switched over to like small bite-sized videos, and I'll show you an example of one of them. It really helps a lot when people like it. And like I mentioned, we micro learnings or nano learnings. This is what we found out that's been the training in small doses works best. If you are putting it all in, so a person has to spend one whole day in learning about security, he's going to dread that day for all the year. So don't do that. Have it in small dosages. Make it easy. Make it accessible. Now I'm going to do a high wire act and see if everything works. Show you an example of one of our videos. And while we're waiting for it, I'll talk about a little bit about the setup of it. We're using like basically marketing techniques, and we have this. It's always short stories telling about a certain threat and some spin on it that kind of makes it memorable. And this is a trick we learned from advertising actually, and it's always like 1 minute long. Okay, we're good to go.
Having a strong password is like having a good toothbrush. No matter how good it is, you know it won't last forever. Eventually, you'll need to change it out for a new and better one. And just like a good password, you wouldn't lend your toothbrush to anyone else, would you?
Next time somebody asks you for a password, you'll think about sharing your toothbrush, hopefully. Okay, yeah, I think let's go. I just have a couple of more slides. Notice how there's a person talking over it like a voice of God. This is so we can scale easily all over the world. We have customers all over the globe, and it works in everywhere. Okay, so to sum it up in the end, first of all, create the security profiles, identify the threat areas and the key behaviors you want to monitor, make a plan and prioritize who needs to know what, make a training material, select a training material and a learning management system that fits your needs, and select a tool that you can use to measure the status. In the end, just start training and remember to measure regularly. That's it. Super simple. There's one, There's one thing more. I managed to persuade our marketing department to give me a lot of books. We are, if you know the Dummies series, the yellow books, we have these cybersecurity for dummies that I'm giving away upstairs. It's by the door, and you can just please take a copy. And I promised to give them some email so they could contact someone and sell someone something. So if you could do that, it would be awesome. But please have a copy upstairs. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And thank you for your very honest words. I promised to give them some emails so that they could sell something to somebody. My takeaway from this was very much your focus on make it easy for your employees to do the right thing, because it is about culture. Yep. I think you had a very strong point where you said, don't expect everyone to learn everything, because everybody doesn't need to know everything within the company. And we speak so much about knowledge within this field, knowledge within tourism, knowledge sharing, and so on and so forth. But I think we also need to be very realistic about how much does a certain person have to know? How much do we have to share? And how much should we expect people in different positions to be able to connect to that knowledge? So, I mean, this from a tech and cybersecurity perspective, but I think it can be applied to so many things within our respective fields. If there was just like a one takeaway thing that people should do, if they would say, what is the first thing that I should make sure of when I get back, when I look into my own security in my company? One thing, not six, one thing, what would it be?
If it's just one thing, it's basically create the culture of being not ashamed about security. Because we don't want people to be hiding their ignorance or hiding the thing. So if you can, so if they encounter something suspicious, they're not afraid to ask. Just make it sure it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay. Just make it easy. That's it. Remove the hurdles.
I think you said no shame, no blame.
Yes,
in your earlier presentation.
Yeah, that's our mantra.
I think that's a very good takeaway. Yeah. Do we have a mic on Sigardök? She is ready. Next up, Sigríður Dögg Guðmundsdóttir, also just known as Sigardök from Iceland Stofa. I will let her do her own presentation. Don't want to steal her thunder. I'm not going to wrap this up afterwards because I think we'll all be ready to just head out and have some snacks. So once Sigardök leaves the stage and we've given her a good applause, then I just welcome you all to step out and enjoy a break and do some networking and refresh before we continue afterwards. And after the break, Ásta Kristín will take over as a host or moderator for today, and I will lean back and enjoy. Thank you. Gjörðu svo vel, Sigardök.
Takk fyrir það. Komið sæl, ég heiti Sigríður Guðmundsdóttir, kölluð Sigga Dögg eins og segir. Ég er ekki kynlífs Sigga Dögg og ekki heldur fréttamanna Sigga Dögg, heldur ferðaþjónustu Sigga Dögg. Ég vil þakka fyrir að fá tækifæri til þess að tala í dag. Ég ætla að kynna fyrir ykkur byltingarkennda tæknilausn fyrir ferðamenn. Og það vil svo til að við erum að kynna nýja herferð í dag fyrir áfangastaðinn. Og hún tengist því að við erum að fara núna inn í sögulegt sumar. Fyrsta stóra ferðasumarið eftir heimsfaraldur, þar sem takmarkanir eru á undanhaldi víðast hvar. En ein af afleiðingum faraldursins er að mörk á milli vinnu og einkalífs eru óskýrari heldur að vara áður. Og við könnuðum þetta og það kemur í ljós að yfir helmingur fólks segir sko að vinnupósta sinn daglegi fríi og upplifa að yfirmenn ætlist til að fá svör meðan á fríi stendur. Og einungis 44% koma úthvíld úr fríi. Þannig að þarna sjáum við vandamál og við hugsaum hvernig getur Ísland boðið eitthvað til að tækla þetta. Og hér er lausnin sem við komum með.
Nothing ruins your vacation like work. Thankfully, Iceland has created the perfect solution. Outhorse your email. A revolutionary service where Icelandic horses write real out-of-office replies so you can relax. They are trained in corporate buzzwords. Your boss will never know the difference. Outhorse your inbox and free up your vacation. Visit outhorseyouremail.com to try for yourself.
Noti frísins og auðvitað viljum við það njóti frísins á Íslandi. En hérna sjáum við þess hvernig herferðin virkar. Við eðlilega byggðum gríðarstórt lyklaborð sem var sérhannað fyrir hófa og við réðum 3 hesta, litlu stjörnu, Heklu og Hrímni til þess að skrifa raunveruleg skilaboð. Og síðan er þetta á heimasíðunni outhorseyouremail.com þar sem fólk getur valið ákveðin skilaboð og það er svona ákveðin karakter eftir hestum, þannig veljið það sem höfða mest til ykkar. Og síðan kópir þetta inn í out of office póstningar og njóti frísins alveg áhyggjulaus. En þessi hugmynd var dálítið nýstárleg, þannig við ákváðum að gera svona behind the scenes myndband til að sýna hvernig þetta gekk fyrir sig.
Fyrir eitthvað skamt og...
Ef að hesturinn fílar ekki upphængurina, þá er þetta að taka takkana burt.
So the Icelandic horse is a really special breed. It's one of the most purebred breeds in the world. For this training, we received very large replica of the keyboard, so they got used to how to walk over it. I think they've been really enjoying themselves today. They've been playing along really well and having some fun as well. I think that you'll be able to see. And yeah, it's been a great day.
Já, flott. Þeim komið hingað.
Núna vitið þið hvernig þessi herferð virkar og þið sáu að það var mjög vel hugsað hestana meðan var verið að gera þessi myndbönd. Þessi þjónusta verður aðgengileg á outhorseyouremail.com og ég hvet ykkur öll til þess að fara þangað og sækja ykkur skilaboð. Deilið endilega þessi víðast hvar af því við viljum að sem flesti fá þessi skilaboð. En svo mörg voru þau orð. Takk fyrir mig.
Jæja. That's the only Icelandic word you really need to know and the meaning. Actually, I think it has 15 different meanings. But this is like, yeah, let's go. Now we need to move on, kind of, yeah. I hope that the drinks and refreshments were good, and connections and networking also. It's time to move on. First, a little bit of housekeeping. This phone was found on the 3rd row, I think. So if someone is missing its phone, I will keep it. Okay? Maybe I will give it back. Who knows? Yeah. Our next speaker is ready. She will be speaking Icelandic. Og ég ætla að kynna hana bara á íslensku. Hún sannur frumkvöðull, hún Hafrún Huld Þorvaldsdóttir, og framkvæmdastjóri fyrir hugbúnaðarsprotafyrirtæki sem heitir E1. Og þetta þema sem við erum að fara inn í núna einmitt tengt sjálfbærni og tækni. Og hún ætlar svona að leiða okkur aðeins inn í sannleikann það hvernig við getum einfaldað okkur lífið og nýtt okkur svona hraðað innviða uppbyggingunni þegar kemur að því að nýta rafhleðslustöðvar og annað slíkt. Þannig ég ætla ekki að fara með fyrirlesturinn hérna fyrir þig, ég ætla að leiða þér að hafa eitthvað þetta að segja. Gerðu svo vel, Hafrún.
Takk alveg. Komið þið sæl. Welcome, nice to see you all. Lots of people. Já, ég ætla að fara með fyrirlesturinn á íslensku. But one quick question in the beginning. How many of you are driving electric? Can I see? Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you very much. This was nice to see. En ég ætla að fara að tala hvort að framtíð ferðaþjónustu og orkuskipta fari saman. En áður en ég fer inn á það, ætla ég aðeins að segja ykkur örlítið frá mínum bakgrunni og hvernig kom til að við erum komin inn í þetta félag. Ég heiti Hafrún Þorvaldsdóttir og minn bakgrunnur fyrst var ég í litlu hugbúnaðarfyrirtæki, svo fór ég í ljósleiðaratengingar, svo endaði ég í Orkuveitu Reykjavíkur og var í orkugeiranum í hátt í 20 ár. Fyrst innleiddi ég viðskiptastýringu í sölu og þjónustu við stærstu fyrirtæki á Íslandi sem kaupa raforkuna af okkur og síðan sem verkefnastjóri hleðslunetsins og uppbyggingu hleðslunetsins fyrir rafbíla hjá Orku náttúrunnar. Og þaðan kemur svona mín reynsla í orkuskiptum og rafmagninu. Nú ég hins vegar framkvæmdastjóri fyrir 2 frumkvöðla sem stofnuðu þetta félag árið 2015 og hafa verið að þróa þennan hugbúnað sem E1 stendur fyrir. Og það bakendakerfi og app fyrir okkur öll sem eigum rafbíla og það fullt af ykkur, plenty of you EV owners in here, fyrir bæði íslenska markað og vonandi síðan erlenda markað. Og þetta kerfi sem sagt tilbúið og við erum svona, þó sem startup fyrirtæki þá erum við bara svona alveg að fara að rúlla þessu út og í gang. Og sumir myndu kalla þetta, og ég setti þetta hérna inn á glærurnar, sumir myndu kalla þetta svona eins og pínlítið eða mjög líkt Airbnb fyrir hleðslustöðvar. Það samt ekki alveg þannig. En fyrst þá ætla ég aðeins að setja ykkur inn í sviðsmyndina sem við erum að vinna í og það náttúrulega sem við öll erum að vinna í, ekki bara við hjá einum heldur við öll í salnum, að það að hátt í 25% af koldíoxíð útblæstri í heiminum eru vegna flutninga eða samgangna og þeir eru að aukast hratt. Það akkurat í öfuga átt við það sem við viljum að það sé að gera og þetta því eitt af mikilvægastu verkefnum í heiminum í dag, það að segja þessi að sporna gegn þessum neikvæðu umhverfislegu áhrifum. Síðastliðinn áratug þá hefur orðið veruleg þróun í notkun sjálfbæra orkugjafa fyrir farartæki og við sáum það árið 2020 að þrátt fyrir COVID þá fjölgaði skráningum rafbíla í heiminum og árið 2021 voru 5,67 milljón rafbílar seldir í Evrópu. En hvað skakt við myndina? Hvert vandamálið? Af hverju eru við að fara á þennan markað? Jú, af því að ef fjölgun uppsetningar hleðslustöðva eykst ekki verulega hratt og í takt við þennan mikla áhuga neytenda á rafbílum og rafbílavæðingu, þá munu rafbílar ekki ná vellinum í Evrópu og víðar, náttúrulega í öllum heiminum. Og staðreyndin sú að rafbíleigendur eru að langmestu leyti að hlaða bílana sína heima. Ég gerði það, ég er búin að eiga rafbíl í 4 ár, 95% heima. Og sömu sögur segja með Íslendinga og Norðmenn. Norðmenn að hlaða svona, þeir hafa þróast aðeins áfram og að hlaða svona 90% heima. En því miður þá einungis 13% hleðslustöðva innviða í Evrópu almenningshleðslur. Þannig að það mjög alvarlegt og þær eingöngu staðsettar að mestu í þessum helstu stórborgum. Þær ekki orðnar dreifðar út allt. Þannig að í smærra þéttbýli og dreifbýli, hvað það heldur, þá hleðslu innviðir nánast engir. Og þetta tækifærið okkar. Þarna ætlum við að skapa tækifæri til þess að nýta alla þá innviðir sem þó þegar eru komnir upp í heiminum í dag og sérstaklega líka á Íslandi til samnýtingar og sharing, af því að sharing is caring, þá ætlum við að samnýta þessar hleðslustöðvar. Okkar plattform eða okkar bakendakerfi og app, það bara tengir saman þá sem að eiga hleðslustöðvarnar, við erum ekki að setja þær upp, við tengjum saman í appinu okkar þá sem eiga hleðslustöðvarnar og þá sem rafbíleigurna, okkur, öll, sem vilja nota þær. Og hver þá lausnin, hver birtingamyndin gagnvart notandanum? Jú, við erum dálítið eins og Airbnb opið markaðstorg, bara fyrir hleðslustöðvar og þetta byggir á þessu deilihagkerfi og við ætlum okkur að nota eins og áður sagði fyrirliggjandi innviðauppbyggingu. En hvað gerir appið? Jú, það hjálpar okkur bara að finna hleðslustöðvarnar, að hlaða og að borga fyrir núna, strax. Og svo gefur appið líka öllum tækifæri á því að græða eilindin pening, af því að eins og við öll vitum, þá kostar það pening að setja upp hleðslustöð. Þú þarft að eiga einhvers konar heimtögun í hús, rafmagnsheimtög, og þú þarft að kosta búnaðinn og uppsetninguna. Og þetta getur alveg kostað 200–300.000 krónur og jafnvel meira per stöð. Og síðan náttúrulega það bara notkunin. Hvað kostar rafmagnið til mín? Það 17 krónur? Þá get ég ákveðið að leggja aðeins ofan á það og græða þá uppæð með því að selja aðganga minni stöð. Og ég sem á stöðina eða stöðvarnar, ég get verið annaðhvort Hafrún með sitt hús, litla hús í Garðabænum sem búin að setja stöð, ég vil deila með nágrönnum, eða ég húsfélag og ég vil hafa nokkrar stöðvar fyrir framann og ég vil opna aðgang að þeim af því að, þú veist, mamma kemur í heimsókn, amma kemur í heimsókn, allir þurfa að nota stöðvarnar og þennan möguleika opnum við á í okkar appi og allir geta grætt örlitla krónur á því að í sína stofnfjárfestingu og eða við síðan geta allir stærri þjónustu aðilar sem eiga stærri hleðslustöðvar og hraðhleðslustöðvar eins og ON og einnig, Ísorka, Orkubú Vestfjarða, Orkusalan, HS Orka og fleiri aðilar sem eru að koma inn á markað, tengt sig inn á okkar kerfi, boðið upp á stöðvarnar sínir í okkar kerfi og neytendur njóta góðs af að því netið verður bara þéttara á kortinu. Svona lítur appið út, það er tilbúið. Inn í því þá náttúrulega sérðu hvar stöðvarnar eru, þú sérðu upplýsingar verð, þú sérð tegund og fjölda tengja og aflstöðva og getur sett inn umsögn eða vilt og síðan sérðu stöðuna á hleðslu bílsins líka í rauntíma bara í símaninu ef þú farin eitthvað inn. Hlaðansýningurinn í bakendakerfi, því að allir sem skrá stöðvarinn í bakendakerfi, þeir geta ákveðið opnunartíma stöðvarna sinna, þeir geta ákveðið hvað þeir ætla að setja háa markinu á raforkuna sem þeir ætla að selja út úr henni. Og þeir geta ákveðið hverjir hafa aðgang að stöðinni. Þeir geta búið til hópa, hvort sem einstaklingar, starfsfólk eða gesti eða aðra, eins og til dæmis þessi hópur sem situr í salnum geti haft aðgang að stöðum úti og fengið kúpon eða afslátt, kynningarafslátt fyrir að vera hér í dag bara með því að fá á miðanum sínum. Þannig að við erum að bjóða upp á alls konar svona value-added lausnir inn í appinu okkar. Nú, að lokum. Markmiðið okkar að sjálfsögðu bara hraða orkuskiptunum úr olíu yfir í rafmagn eða endurnýjanlega orku, veita ykkur notendum gott yfirlit á einum stað yfir flókið samspil innviða, hleðslustöðva og margra þjónustaðala hleðslustöðva á landinu, tryggja gagnsæi og samkeppni í verðlagningu og áreiðanleika rauntíma upplýsinga af því að appið okkar talar stanslaust við stöðvarnar og gefur þér upplýsingar availability og gefur þennan möguleika á auknum tekjum. Teymið okkar byggt upp af frábæru fólki. Við erum með bakgrunn í viðskiptum, rafmagni, viðskiptaþróun, rekstri fyrirtækja, hugbúnaðarþróun, forritun og fleiri. Og svo langar mér bara endilega að biðja ykkur að heyra í mér. Ég með @e1.is. Var þetta ekki góð auglýsing? Ég elska líka on, en þau eru líka frábæri. En verður best. Herði, takk fyrir að hlusta og endilega tengist mér. Þið munið þetta núna, @e1.
Bara meðan að þeir græja sig, þá langaði mig kannski bara aðeins að spyrja, því að þið eruð í svona frumkvöðla heimi og í frumkvöðla heimi svolítið erfitt að ná stundum fjármögnum og eyrum fjárfesta og svona koma sér á kortið. Já, fjárfesta saman. Gæti nefnilega verið, sko. Hvernig hefur þetta gengið ykkur?
Þetta alveg erfitt og þetta alveg töff. Við erum að læra helling og erum búin að fara gegnum eitt rátt og erum að fara í næsta. Og leið og við byrjum á þessu núna þá erum við að undirbúa þriðja. Þannig að þetta alveg töff. Já. Töff umhverfi. Og en galdurinn dálítið að veit ekki hvað að fara djúpt í þetta, en dálítið að velja réttu peningana sem hafa áhuga á því sem maður að gera. Já. Og það heimurinn að breytast og við erum að fara meira inn í grænar lausnir og allt þetta umhverfi að verða jákvæðara og opnara fyrir svona grænum lausnum sem þurfa að sjálfsögðu þolinmóðara fjármagna því að vitundin okkar allra að breytast, sharing is caring, við höfum ekki bara að nýta þessa hleðslustöð sem við erum með heima fyrir okkur sjálf, af því að þú ert bara með bílinn í sambandi kannski einu sinni í viku og Tesla, eitt kvöld í viku og þá þetta bara auðlind sem við eigum að samnýta.
Mikil sóun sem
Já, og minnka sóun.
Herri, takk innilega fyrir að vera með okkur og einmitt.
Ég sem mikil knúsari, ég að knúsa þig, já. Ok.
Þú gert það eftir. And next up, we are going to have Fannar Jónsson from the Blue Lagoon. He is Icelandic, but he is going to talk to you in English and tell you a little bit about the circular economy. And I also asked him if he could connect that a little bit to technology and how you were thinking towards sustainability and with your management and so on. So I give you the stage, Fannar, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you very much. It wasn't easy to connect these two together, but I have some slides that I want to share with you. First of all, most of you probably know Blue Lagoon. It's one of the most popular destinations in Iceland. And before COVID, we had around 1 million guests coming to the Blue Lagoon every year. And we are acknowledged as one of the top 10 spas in the world. And we've been growing exponentially over the last years. And I really love this picture. It's from 1994. And so this year we are actually celebrating our 30-year anniversary of Blue Lagoon. And this was 2 years after we started. And this was the original Blue Lagoon. This was the first Blue Lagoon. And on the left there you can see HS Orka, which is the geothermal energy plant. And they started actually their operation in 1976. So the Blue Lagoon was formed quite much earlier than when the Blue Lagoon started itself. So just to explain a little bit what's happening here, what the geothermal power plant is doing. So they're taking geothermal seawater, which is actually a mixture of seawater and fresh water, from about 2,000 meters beneath the ground. And at that depth, the temperatures is around 240 degrees. And at this depth also, the geothermal seawater is playing around, and there are some mineral exchanges happening in the water. And when they get the geothermal seawater up they use the steam that's actually coming from the geothermal seawater to power their, to produce electricity in their turbines, and also to produce hot water for the municipalities in Reykjanes. Most of the geothermal seawater is actually going back down into the ground, but a part of it they need to put into the lava field. At the time, in the beginning, they thought that putting it into the lava field, the geothermal seawater would just seep back down to the ground, but they were pleasantly surprised when these blue pools started to form. And the reason for that is in the geothermal seawater, there is an unusual high content of silica in the water. And when the geothermal seawater cools down, the silica starts to form like white clay. And the lava is quite porous, so it usually just it would be seeping back down to the source. But this white clay is then forming these pools in the lava field. And of course, curious Icelanders started to bathe in this, and soon after that, there were some stories going around that this had very beneficial effect on their skin, and specifically people with psoriasis. So into the picture comes Grímur Simonsen, who is a medical doctor, and started researching this phenomena, and later on founded Blue Lagoon. So this slide actually depicts our geothermal ecocycle, which is similar to what I've been discussing with you here. It starts with the geothermal seawater coming with the geothermal power plant. But when we get the geothermal seawater, it's about 150 degrees, and we use that to heat our lagoons, and we also use other resource streams coming from HS Orka. We use, of course, the hot water and electricity, which is green energy, but we also use the steam, which is excess steam coming from the power plant to produce salt, both bath salt and food-grade salt. We also use another source from them, it's the CO2. So when they are drilling for the geothermal seawater, there are some natural CO2 escaping from the boreholes. And we get a part of that to grow our microalgae. So we have a microalgae cultivation at the Blue Lagoon. And so we're using the silica, we're using the geothermal seawater, and we are cultivating this microalgae in all our operations. And this is also always the philosophy of Blue Lagoon. From the beginning, we have always been looking into these resources. Anytime we are building a facility, or we are designing a new experience or a new product, we always look at the resource streams and see how can we use them more efficiently, how can we make more value out of them, both for the company and also for the community. And that is, we have maintained that through all our 30 years of operation. And here's a picture showing our microalgae cultivation. So we use the geothermal seawater to cultivate this algae. And the microalgae is unique to this environment. We don't really know exactly where it comes from, but as soon as the blue pools lagoons started to form, this microalgae started to cultivate in the water. So it likes the heat, it likes the salt, it likes this environment very much. So we mimic that in the Research and Development Center, where we use geothermal seawater, we use CO2, and we use the green energy to grow them. And this is going into our skincare products. So this has also been, from the beginning, a scientific journey as well. Throughout these 30 years, we are always studying these beneficial effects that the geothermal seawater has on our skin. And from this, we have, over these 30 years, we have shown that it's not just the silica and it's not just the microalgae, but actually a combination of these that make these great beneficial effects. And actually, it's building up collagen in the skin, and it's also reducing the breakdown of collagen. And this is what we call the BL plus complex. So Blue Lagoon has grown, as I said, exponentially over the years. Most of you know about the main lagoon, the Blue Lagoon Spa, but we also have a 5-star Superior Hotel, retreat hotel, and we have a separate retreat spa there. And we have 2 restaurants, Moss Restaurant and Lava Restaurants. We have a couple of stores as well. And we have the first hotel, the Silica Hotel, and a separate lagoon connected to that. And then, of course, we have the Research and Development Center, which we have been operating continuously. So just to show you a little bit the changes we have gone through over these 30 years. So this was the original Blue Lagoon. Maybe some of you have went there. I at least went there when I was a child. And this was our first facility, as you can see in the back room. But this is where we are now at the retreat spa. So we are continuously changing and developing our facilities and everything around that. So this is the first hotel room at Silica Hotel, and this is the retreat hotel today. This was the first food and beverage we offered, sandwich and a beer. This is what we offer today at our restaurants. This was our first skincare product, is the Silica Mud Mask. But today we offer around 50 different types of products, ranging from the derma line, which is more medicinal, the spa line, which is more for the body and masks, face masks, and then the new BL Plus premium line, which is all around the BL Plus complex. But I was going to talk to you a little bit about tech as well. The digital development has played a vital role in our sustainability journey and reducing waste and streamlining processes, making time for us to focus and improving the quality and our guest experience with less effort and cost. So what we started first with is centralizing all our systems into one system. So we're offering hotel nights, we're offering food, spa treatments and things like that. So it's important to centralize everything into one system. So that's what we have been developing, the LS Central. Around that as well is also centralizing our data capturing. So capturing all the data in one place, which will help us then to develop further solutions in the operations. And this is one that we implemented last year, is the self-service at BL Spa. In the beginning, we thought that we are losing the personal connection to the customer if we go this way. So we tested it one weekend, and more than half chose to do this self-service checkout. And now it's around 84%. And now we see that the rest, the 16% that actually need some help, need some services, we can offer that sooner, and we can put more personal effort into that, where people actually need some help with their checkout. My Blue Lagoon is another one where we are putting the power to the customer to be able to design his own experience before he comes on site, to add different services that we provide. Mobile wallet as well, to have your ticket digitally, which will help you to check in faster, and also a communication tool to get some communication with the customer before he arrives. We are also been looking inwards on our internal digital development, like digital signing of agreements and digitalizing our processes. And by doing this, we have reduced the need of printing of paper and also resets, card resets. And of course, COVID is playing a little bit part, but still we see a huge reduction in paper use. It's not just the gathering of the data which is important, it's also what we do with it and how we manage it. So we have set up these digital desktops or dashboards with all departments, so they can easily see how they can improve their efficiency in their operations to make our customers' experience even better. And we do this through Power BI. So it's been a journey of improving our facilities and sustainability and digital development, but it's also important to note that it's a development of the brand as well, because the brand is the most valuable thing that we have. And nothing is more iconic than being depicted in a Simpsons episode. That really says it all, and says that, yeah, you really made it. And you are now a world-renowned brand. We have also gotten a lot of awards. The one that we are most proud of is from the National Geographic naming the Blue Lagoon water as one of the 25 wonders of the world. So, and we're really proud of that. So it's been an incredible 30-year journey from the original hut, as you can see on the left side there. It probably didn't even have an internet connection, to where we are today. And we're just looking forward to the next 30 years. Thank you very much. Takk fyrir.
Fannar, þú mátt aðeins halda mæknum. Thank you so much, Fannar, for this, and a great connection to sustainability and tech and how you use it and why it is important. And it was kind of funny, we had our annual meeting this morning and Fannar was there on behalf of Blue Lagoon, among others. And then in the lunch break, he asked me, Ásta, what are you doing in offsetting for the tourism cluster? And I just had like a speech of how important this was and so on. And I just admitted that we are not doing as much as we could be doing. And I think it's so important when people like you that have it so much in your bones and you know so much about this are encouraging others. So if you have just one tiny tip for the audience, where would you recommend to start?
I would just start. That's just the thing. Just there are so many solutions out there. It's becoming a little bit of a jungle to choosing the right solution, finding the right way to do this. But just looking at your carbon release, calculating it, understanding actually how much you are actually emitting. First of all, and then just choosing the correct solutions, and there are a lot of them out there. So.
Mm-hmm. And that is a great bridge over to the next speaker. So thank you, Fannar. Next, we will have Ariel. I don't know if you're talking in English or Icelandic.
I'll be speaking in English. I think I'm on.
Ooh, yeah. You're on. Yes. Ariel comes from a startup called Súrefni, and he will tell you a little bit more about that. But what we were most keen about and asked you to come and present a solution that you are connecting the guests so they can kind of, be better guests when they are in Iceland, kind of, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Take it away.
So, hello everyone. My name is Ariel Jóhann Árnason, and I am the CEO and founder of Breathe Iceland, Carbon Offset Your Stay. Now, I am also the founder of its mother company, Súrefni Icelandic Carbon Fund. But the core concept of Breathe Iceland really was just to create a possibility for guests and travelers and tourists in Iceland to reduce the carbon emissions of their travels and do that in an easy and understandable way through reforestation. Let's see if this works. Fantastic. So how do we do this? Of course, we could have done this in a vacuum, just accepting payment and pushing it onward. But what we really wanted to do was create an ecosystem of reliability. And Súrefni, the Icelandic Carbon Fund, really is an Icelandic carbon fund that offers carbon offsetting for individuals as well as companies. And we do this in a reliable way using the services of many different entities in the market, such as reliable methodologies. You can see, for example, Gold Standard, Verra, and its most recent addition, the Skógarkolefni, or it's based on the UK Woodland Carbon Code. And not to get too technical, but that is basically a very reliable methodology to create certified carbon credits. Now, it is very important for us as a fund and as a carbon offsetting entity to create reliability in the market. This is why we partnered with such entities as the Icelandic Forestry Service. This is why we are working closely with, for example, Resource International, an engineering firm that does environmental carbon calculation for both just the basic calculation for a service or a company, but also life cycle analysis for internationally certified, carbon footprints. And we put all of this information and all of these certified processes into the Breathe Iceland app, so that when a tourist or a guest is using the Breathe Iceland app, the calculations are certified, all the way from the calculation all the way to the planting of the trees or the forestation. A little bit about our team. Now, like I said, my name is Ariel Johan. I am the founder. Of course, the Súrefni teams comes and supports this project with their good work. But our latest addition, Alexandra, the project manager of Breathe Iceland, unfortunately couldn't be here today. But she did send us a nice little warm welcome, which I'm going to play for you now.
Hi, my name is Alexandra Frank, and I'm the new project manager at Súrefni. My role includes performing market research for our new Breathe Iceland app, collaborating with other tourist companies in Iceland, and executing successful marketing campaigns. I'm really excited about this project and happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, and we are obviously very happy to have her as a great addition to our team because we did receive a fund from Rannis to sort of further this project a little bit. And what Alexandra is going to be doing is actually hopefully contacting many of you guys in the tourism industry or the service industry to gather more data on the purchasing behavior of our guests, the tourists in the country, both before they actually arrive to Iceland as well as when they have already arrived. And this is, of course, with regards to sustainability. And I think we believe this will be a valuable sort of market research to sort of share with our partners. And so we're really excited about that. Now, we like to see things in a visual way. So, the tourists are going to be coming to Iceland. They're going to be doing a lot of activities, booking tours, and all of the services you guys already are providing. And inevitably, this is going to create some sort of a carbon footprint. Now, what we really want to do is, at this point, to introduce our guests to the app, whether it is a standalone app or it is integrated into the purchasing funnel of any service provider that is operating in Iceland. And the end result, of course, being exactly the same, that our guests, after they've come and gone, the seedlings would end up in the ground, reducing the carbon emissions and creating a greener country. Now, if many of you maybe don't know, but Iceland used to be covered in forests. It used to be something like 36% forest. In the last few hundred years, of course, making the Viking boats and all of that, we reduced it down to less than 2%. We were actually just celebrating recently that we just reached 2%. Now I'm running out of time because I have a lot of a lot of things to talk about. But I did want to show you just a little bit of the framework of the app. Now we've been working on this, and this is obviously a rough edition, but you can see right, from the get-go that we really just wanted to make it an easy-to-use, simple and efficient way for travelers to, well, first of all, just to inform them about the impact they might be having, and to show them an easy-to-use way to reduce the carbon emissions slightly. We don't think of this as a solution for all problems, but this is part of the sustainability chain. And really just a way for most traveling groups the opportunity to, travel in a more sustainable and environmentally responsible way. And as you can see, it's really simple. You just input your information there, press the button, and there you are. And what's really interesting about this also, and fun to talk about just at the end here, is that this prototype is already accessible on all the app stores and play stores. You can get it right now if you want and check it out. But also our first forestry project, creating certified carbon credits, is located in the south of the country, very close to Seljalandsfoss, just west of the Markarfljót. And you can actually, when you're driving past the highway, look out your left-hand window and see the forest growing there. So it's a great opportunity for us to connect with the travelers and help them travel in a more responsible and sustainable way. Thank you, and it was really great to be here.
Thank you so much, Ariel. As some of you might know, we are running out of time. So there will not be a panel like we were planning on. But because we have a foreign guest, and thank you so much for this, and making this also visual, I wanted to give you, Max, the last minute here today. So you have to wrap it up in 1 minute. What was your key learnings today, and what do you want people to go away with them?
Right, so I was actually listening to this last presentation and to your presentation, of course, before that. Thank you so much for having me, of course.
Thank you for being here.
And thank you for this opportunity to wrap this whole conference up. But I was just listening to this presentation, and I was just thinking and doing in my head a little bit of math. What is Iceland's GDP last year? I don't know. I was just reading Wikipedia. It's $20 billion apparently. It's quite a bit of money. 20 something. Then 33% of that. Who has a calculator? 33% of that. So 1/3 of that is tourism. And I was talking about the commission fee. 18%. Sorry, I'm just like shameless self-promotion, right? But no, in all earnest, so 33% is tourism, and let's lowball it. Let's say we would say 5% of like commission fees of that. That's like what? Sorry.
I'm not helping you out.
6. It's like millions and millions of dollars, a lot of money. And I'm just thinking, like, I want to give you a ton of money because what I see your project is doing right now, a lot of energy, a lot of effort is going into it. Yeah, let's create the app, let's make it usable, let's do this, let's do that, let's make sure this whole organization is working, the whole structure, let's raise the funding. How about we take all that money and just invest in just like all the people that come to Iceland automatically, their carbon footprint is all set, and then trees are replanted, and horses are retrained to write better emails and stuff like that. You know?
And the minute is up.
Oh, no. So, I really enjoyed listening to some of those presentations, even to those presentations in Iceland. It's very interesting. It was a learning experience for sure. Amazing country, loving to be here. I love to be here, and I would really love to work with people from the industry, from like hotels that we're representing here. And yeah, let's collaborate. Collaboration, right?
Yeah!
It's all about collaboration.
Wow, the magic word.
It's all about working together on these things. And hey, I'm available to collaborate on anything and everything. Yeah, happy to help Icelanders and everyone else with blockchain or non-blockchain, whatever. Just hanging out there and I guess get some drinks.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you so much, and thank you for coming and being here with us today. Inga, if you join me here for the last second. Collaboration is the key, of course. This collaboration has been wonderful with the Icelandic Tourism Board, and with all of you, with all the speakers that have been here today, and with everyone that has put their mind, heart, and soul into this. I want to thank my staff members, Rakel and Árni. They've been running around here with all kinds of tables and waters and I don't know what's. Inga Rós, it's always a pleasure working with you.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you all for showing up today.
Yeah, and I think that we just do this really formally. Thank you very much. Hope to see you next year. It will probably be in May, 22nd to the 26th sometime. We collaborated with the Icelandic Innovation Week, and we will do that again, I think. That turned really
very well.
Yeah. So, farewell. See you soon.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.